So blend if, basically what it does, um, when you're it's in the layer properties, or the layer styles. So we'll take a look at it. It determines if layers will blend. So you thought, oh, layers will 100% blend based on the blending mode and the opacity. Well, yes, in general cases. However, you can use this blend if functionality to add to that. And for the final assignment, we're going to need to have that. So there's like some special cases where you need to use this functionality. Um, Basically, it depends on the luminosity of either the top layer or the layer beneath it, whether it will blend or not. And we'll demonstrate this by using flying through clouds. So we have a little airplane and some clouds. And right now, they're just on two layers. So we have the clouds and we have the airplane. But we'd like to have the cloud, depending on the white area, maybe it's hiding the airplane. So through the clouds, that's also in the modules. So if you want to follow along, you can open that. And then or you can just watch this. I will also have videos for you on the final assignment. This is just kind of an introduction to what BlendIf is, so that when you run into it in the next assignment, it's not a total mystery. So as you see here in the layers panel, we just have two layers, one that's plain and the other is sky. And what we'd like is when we move the plane, we'd like it to peek out of the clouds, kind of like going in and out of the clouds. And when it's in the blue, obviously, we're going to see it. But when it's in the white of the clouds, we'd like to kind of have it obscured. So how can we do that? What we could do is there's a few ways of doing this. The easy way of doing it is just not on the word plane, but over here in this blank area. If you double click, it brings up the layer styles palette or, dialog box. And you'll notice this is where we had like our styles where we could, if we wanted to add a drop shadow, this is where we could do that. So where is that? Inner shadow, yeah. Oh, that's kind of nice. I kind of like that. Okay. And then drop shadow, obviously, we know what that is. But for now, we're looking at blending options. And specifically, we're looking for blend if. And you'll see that it says gray. Okay, what does that mean? So basically what this means is on the current layer, if the luminosity, which means the brightness or the darkness, is in a certain range, it will blend. If not, it won't blend. And likewise on the underlying layer. So we can play with these sliders here to get our image to disappear. So on the darker pixels, if I want them to hide, I can move that slider over. And likewise on the underlaying layer, I can hide it in the white like that. So let's figure this out. Okay, so what we want is ideally for the plane to appear when it's in the blue, but not in the white. So let's move it over to there and let's see. So it looks like if we change the lightness on the underlying layer, that's going to give us the effect we want. Yeah. The clouds, yes. And so what we can do is once this is kind of pretty harsh. So it's like either appearing or not appearing. Clouds are kind of like hair. They're semi-transparent. So there's a little secret trick here. It looks like we have two sliders. Actually, we have four. If you press and hold the Alt or Option key and click on one of these sliders, it splits into two. So now we have a range. And so we can move the range around here. so that it's semi in and out of the clouds, depending on how light the cloud is. And you can play with the settings to make it kind of where you think it would be in the cloud or not. And let's see, that's looking okay. Let's see how that works. Okay, so basically what I did was I changed the underlying layer blend so that if it's these light colors, we're going to hide the plane. So that's all I've done. I haven't even, changed the blending mode or anything like that. And when we move this, you'll see that it's going in and out of the clouds, depending on how light the cloud is. So if it's fully white, then it's going to hide that cloud, hide the the plane. But if it's darker, it's going to let it show through. So like in the blue, we obviously, that's a darker color. We want it to show through. So that's kind of a brief overview of what blend if is. And like I said, I'll have a video for you on the assignment, so you'll see in the specific assignment how we're using that. But that's just kind of an introduction for you.